Say kimchi. Apparently, in Korea, that's what they say for photography instead of cheese. Now you know. Hi there, and welcome to Gimme 2. My name is Mark, and in this video, we will discuss photography in just 2 minutes. As with my other videos, if you want to go straight to the 2 minutes, which will discuss the technical aspects of photography, also known as the exposure triangle, that is timestamped in the description. But if you stick around for a couple of minutes before that, I go through some of the history of photography and other context that might be worth a listen. At its core, photography, from the Greek to draw with light, is simply using light to create an image. But how does that work exactly? Let's start with the basics. When you take a photo, light enters the camera through its lens and hits either a strip of light-sensitive film or a sensor, which captures the light and turns it into an image. In film photography, the image is captured as a negative, as it's the reverse of the final picture. To turn the negative into a photograph, you shine a light through the negative, capturing the image on a photosensitive paper. Too much light and the photo will be overexposed, which is why we develop them in darkrooms, which are, well, dark. In digital photography, the light is recorded as digital signals, which can be saved as files, printed immediately, or whatever you want to do with them. Foundations of modern photography rest on two discoveries: the camera obscura and the development of light-sensitive materials. Camera obscura, or dark chamber, is a dark room or box with a small opening that serves as a focal point where the light converges, projecting an inverted image onto a surface. Early mentions date back to ancient China and Aristotle, with experiments being done during the Islamic Golden Age and a very detailed description made by Leonardo da Vinci in 1502. Many believe it may have even been used in prehistoric cave art. Humans have also long observed how light can visually alter surfaces, like suntanning or bleaching. But in the 17th century, chemicals like silver nitrate were identified as agents that can permanently alter surfaces when exposed to light. In the 18th century, photography pioneers like Johann Heinrich Schultz, Elizabeth Fulham, and Thomas Wedgwood experimented with light-sensitive materials like silver nitrate and chloride, visually altering surfaces with light. In 1816, Joseph Nicephore Niepce built on those experiments and produced the first photographic negative, although the image was lost when it was exposed to light. He ultimately solved this, creating the oldest surviving photograph on pewter in around 1826. The following century brought rapid advancements. Innovators like Louis Daguerre and Henry Fox Talbot improved image resolution, reduced exposure times, and made cameras more portable. By 1888, George Eastman revolutionized photography with the Kodak, a compact, user-friendly film camera available to the masses. The 20th century saw the rise of color photography and, later in the century, the shift to digital technology, replacing film with sensors that convert light into digital signals, giving us the photography we know today. But visible light is just a small part of the electromagnetic spectrum, with wavelengths ranging from red to violet. Roy G. Biv. However, cameras have been developed to detect invisible light, such as below or infrared, or beyond or ultraviolet. This technology has allowed us to create thermal cameras and X-ray machines, which are essentially just cameras but to the light that is undetectable to the human eye. Modern, visible light cameras come in a variety of flavors. From simple point-and-shoot cameras with a compact design but a sacrifice on customizability, to more complex DSLRs that use mirrors to project images and provide much greater light customization. More recent mirrorless models that allow light to directly hit a sensor, projecting them onto an electronic viewfinder, combine the compact frame of point-and-shoot with the greater customization of DSLR. Ultimately, each camera has its strengths and weaknesses, and choosing the right one depends on your photography objectives. Camera lenses, another crucial aspect of photography, also comes in a variety of shapes and sizes. Prime lenses, for example, have fixed focal lengths, so they don't zoom in or out, but provide much sharper images. Zoom lenses, on the other hand, allow you to change focus, but might sacrifice on image quality. Beyond the technical specs, photography relies heavily on artistic choices, such as composition and framing, which can make or break a photo. Techniques like leading lines, rule of thirds, or depth of field can turn a simple snapshot into a very compelling image. But ultimately, the artistic quality is a matter of preference and creativity. Now that we've discussed some of the history of photography and some of its other aspects, let's talk about the technical aspects in the 2 minutes. Before we do, however, if you find this content enjoyable, entertaining, or informative, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It really does help the channel grow and for videos like these to reach broader audiences. But for now, let's get back to the technical aspects of photography in the 2 minutes, starting now. Light is the foundation of photography. Three camera settings, shutter speed, aperture, and ISO, determine your photo's light. But each also determines one other factor. Shutter speed determines how long the camera's shutter stays open, letting light hit the sensor or film. The longer it's open, the more light gets in. For example, 1/200th of a second might be typical, but slower speeds, like 1/30th, let more light in, which can be great for darker surroundings. The trade-off: motion blur. If something in the picture moves or the camera shakes while the shutter is open, the picture might appear blurry. Faster speeds, like 1/1000th of a second, freeze motion and are great for action shots. And using a tripod is a great way to keep the camera steady for slower shutter speeds. Aperture is the size of the lens opening, which, again, influences how much light gets in. It's measured by its f number, where a wider aperture will have a lower f number, like f1.8, and will let a lot of light in. A wider aperture also gives shallow depth of field, meaning your subject will be sharp, but the background blurs, which is great for portraits. A narrow aperture with a high f, like f22, does just the opposite. Less light, but more of your scene stays in focus. Great for landscape photos. ISO measures your camera sensor's sensitivity toward light. A high ISO, like 6400, means high light sensitivity, great for low light situations, but it introduces grain, reducing image quality. Conversely, a low ISO, like 100, gives you a cleaner image, but requires more light. Increasing ISO is useful when light is more crucial than image quality. And those are the technical aspects of photography. I hope you enjoyed this video. I found it very interesting learning about those technical aspects of photography, and I hope I was able to deliver that information clearly to you. One thing I found very interesting about researching photography is the divide between the technical and the practical aspects of it. While I might be able to explain photography to you or tell it to you the way you might read it in a book, if you handed me a camera, that would be a disaster. So far, my understanding of this subject is strictly academic, and who knows, maybe one day I'll take it up as a hobby. But I hope this was helpful and informative for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video.